A game winner. Find out which Pioneer squad won in the final moments. The Steelers drop another to the Packers at Lambeau Field. In JRSportBrief's JR Jackson himself visits Point Park, and we go on a one-on-one interview with the CBS radio host. It's time to come on down to the Pioneer sideline. Good evening and welcome to Pioneer Sideline. I'm Natalia Hillen. Point Park Esports had another match last night, and here's EJ Dwyer with everything you need to know.
Thanks, Nat. Point Park Esports takes another unfortunate 3-0 loss, this time to the hands of Lackawanna College Esports. In their first game, Point Park was outscored 6-4. In Game 2, Point Park scored only 3 goals to Lackawanna's 7. In Game 3, the returning member of last year's team, Tyler Thomas, scored Point Park's only goal in a 4-1 loss. The Pioneers shake off this loss and move on to Arcadia next week at 7 p.m. Tune into Team's Twitch stream next Monday to cheer them on.
Thank you, EJ. Last Saturday, the Point Park women's soccer team took on Indiana University Kokomo at the Montour Junction Sports Complex in Coraopolis, Pennsylvania. 9 minutes and 21 seconds into the game, sophomore Athena Beck scored the first goal of the game, making the score 1-0. The score of 1-0 was consistent throughout the entire game up until the end. The last 10 minutes of the game, IU Kokomo scored their first goal, making the score tied up 1-1. With only 1:18 remaining in the game, Tamaya Wolford found Nolan McGuire in the box, and McGuire scored the game-winning goal, making the final score 2-1. Winning this game puts the Pioneers at the top of the conference standings with having 4 wins and 1 loss on their record. The women's soccer team's next game is this Saturday, October 9th, 2021 at WVU Tech. Good luck, ladies. Now, when we come back, find out how the Point Park golf team did at the final day of the RSC Fall Preview. And then we have highlights of our high school game of the week. Don't go anywhere. The River States Conference Men's Golf Fall Preview finished up their play with the final round on Tuesday, September 29th. Freshman Britton Bringhurst ended up as the top finisher for the Pioneers in the tournament with a score of 82 over the final 18 holes after he opened up with a 78 and placed in a tie for 30th out of the 62 golfers in the field. Point Park sophomore Anthony Santilli shot an 84 on Tuesday to tie for 34th place. Tyler Hillard was the third Point Park competitor. He shot an 86 in the final round and had a team high of 2 birdies on the day. Midway, Kentucky won the team title with rounds of 290 to 284. Point Park is in its first year under new head coach Easton Renwick. Although the Pioneers did not have the required 4 players to post a team score at the fall preview, they are looking ahead to the spring with increased numbers. Now, here is Ben Tenuta with highlights of our high school football game of the week.
Thanks, Nat. This week we had another beach day at Bell Vernon as the undefeated Leopards hosted the undefeated Laurel Highland Mustangs in an in-conference game matchup.
As the calendar turned from September to October, the days of autumn becoming more ever present, and in comes week 5.
We're live tonight, let's go!
Receiving at the 37, sweeps over the 40, the 45, 50, turns on the speed, the 45, the 40, down the far sideline, swings to the right, they're pursuing him, got him, touchdown, Leopards! Takes the snap, and makes a toss left, takes off running to the wide side right, he's at the 5, tries to go for the pylon, and he's going to get in there, touchdown! Takes the ball, throws long and deep, left sideline to Shields, beautifully dropped 45, gets out of the top of the 35 to 30, the 25 to 20, there goes Keandre to Shields, touchdown Mustangs! He rolls the pocket right, floats it towards the end zone, and the catch is made! Hannah Flair comes down, scored a touchdown! As Whitlock takes the snap and hands the ball off to Jericho, and opening on the right side, the 20, the 15, the 10, stiff arms, a would-be tackler, goes into the end zone, touchdown! Here's the snap back on 1st and goal from the 10, Jericho gets the handoff, Jericho bowls over a man into the end zone!
Yeah, real deal stepper!
Coming into the game, there was a lot of hype between the matchup of athletes between 4-star recruit Rodney Gallagher of LH and Bell Vernon's own Devin Whitlock. As the game went on, Whitlock and the Leopards took control of the game thanks to sophomore running back Jake Jedico, who rushed for 235 yards and 5 touchdowns, as he was the replacement of 4-star recruit Quentin Martin, who was injured the week prior. This week we travel to Penn Trafford as they host Gateway in a 5A matchup. Now back to you, Natalia.
Thanks, Ben. Coming up next, we recap the Steelers' trip to Green Bay and then find out how the Pirates ended their 2021 season. All that and more next.
%40 of food in the United States is never eaten. At the same time, 1 in 8 Americans is struggling to put enough food on the table. Before you let your food go bad or throw your leftovers in the garbage, think about your options. To learn more about food waste and how you can reduce food waste at home, visit www.nrdc.org/issues/food waste.
Welcome back. The Pittsburgh Pirates wrapped up their 2021 season. The Pitt Panthers had their first ACC game of the season against Georgia Tech, and then the Steelers took on Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. To discuss what's going on regionally in sports, let's send things over to John Mayer.
Thanks, Nat. The Pirates wrapped up their regular season campaign on Sunday against the Cincinnati Reds, winning the first 2 games on Friday and Saturday, but losing the season finale. The Pirates finished at the bottom of the National League Central Division with a record of 61 wins and 101 losses. Pitt football once again had a strong showing against Georgia Tech on Saturday afternoon, winning 52-21. The Penguins are battling the Buffalo Sabres Tuesday night at home and are coming off a convincing 5-1 win against the Detroit Red Wings Sunday afternoon. Regular season play opens on October 12th, with the Penguins playing the Tampa Bay Lightning at 7:30. The Steelers' losing streak continued on Sunday, dropping their third consecutive contest to the Packers by a score of 27-17. The Steelers' offense struggled once again yesterday, as Ben Roethlisberger and the offensive line struggled against Green Bay. Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson were two bright spots on offense for the Steelers, as the Steelers rookie notched his first career rushing touchdown, and Johnson hauled in a long touchdown reception on the opening drive. That's where the bright spots end, however, as the defense struggled to contain reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers for the majority of the game, allowing Rodgers to score 3 total touchdowns. Some history was made in this game for both quarterbacks, as Ben Roethlisberger tossed his 400th career touchdown pass, becoming only the 8th quarterback in NFL history to ever do so. And he moved past Dan Marino for 6th all-time in career passing yards. Rodgers tied Dan Marino for 6th all-time in touchdown passes by throwing his 420th touchdown to longtime teammate Randall Cobb. The Steelers will look to rebound as they return to Heinz Field to take on the Broncos, who could be without starting quarterback Teddy Bridgewater due to a concussion. Back to you, Nat.
Well, thanks, John. To recap what's going on nationally in sports, let's toss things over to Samuel Parator. Sam?
Thanks, Natalia. Another wild week of NFL football is in the books, and now you know what that means. It's time for your NFL Rapid Recap. Let's start with my biggest surprises of the week. The New York teams both got their first wins this year. The New York Football Giants took down the New Orleans Saints 27-21 on the back of Saquon Barkley's 6-yard game-winning touchdown in overtime after his great day of 126 yards total, 52 yards rushing and 74 receiving. The New York Jets overcame the Tennessee Titans 27-24 also in overtime with a little bit of luck. Jets kicker Matt Amendola kicked a 22-yard field goal to give them the lead, and on the opposite side, Randy Bullock missed a 49-yarder that would have tied the game, giving Jets the win, and a happy day for New York football fans. Now for our big game of the week, and there's no surprise here, that is the return. Tom Brady's return to Gillette Stadium to face Bill Belichick and the Patriots. The fans were as indecisive as you would expect, cheering as Tom Brady took the field for warm-ups, but booing him as he took the field for game time. The Patriots, and in particular rookie quarterback Mac Jones, were rather impressive, but in the end, the Buccaneers took the narrow victory 19-17 off a barely missed 56-yard field goal attempt by Patriots kicker Nick Folk. That's all for the wild NFL. Now let's switch to the baseball diamond. The MLB regular season is finally complete, and after a wild final day, now let's see who's in and who's out, and who will face who in their quest for the World Series. We start in the American League, where rivals are set to clash in the wild card game, as the Boston Red Sox will take on the New York Yankees at legendary Fenway Park. The winner of that matchup will take on the AL East champion Tampa Bay Rays in the divisional round, and the other already set divisional matchup will see the AL Central champion Chicago White Sox take on the AL West champion Houston Astros. Over in the National League, the wild card game will see the Los Angeles Dodgers take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Whoever wins that will go on to face the NL West champion San Francisco Giants in the divisional round. The other divisional round is already set and will see the NL East champion Atlanta Braves take on the NL Central champion Milwaukee Brewers. This postseason is looking to be a good one, and we will keep you up to date each week.
Thanks, Sam. Coming up next, we sit down with sports entertainer JR Jackson discussing his journey into the sports industry.
Welcome back. This week, Point Park has a special visitor, and joining me now is CBS radio host and JR Sports Brief himself, JR Jackson. JR, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely, not a problem. Happy to be here.
How has your visit to Pittsburgh been so far?
It's fun. You know, I've been all over the country. Pittsburgh hasn't been a stop. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad to say that I'm here. It's been lovely being here at Point Park. Has been cool. I got no complaints. The sun even shined a little bit while I was here. It's been fun.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned you've been around the whole country.
Yes.
You've also toured around the world. And you're from the Bronx in New York. What sparked your interest not only in sports, but your passion for what you do?
I like to learn. Like even as a kid, I feel like every Saturday, my mom and I, like we would go, there would be a different excursion. And whether it be to a museum or whether it be to a park, like we got outside of the Bronx. We took advantage of everything that was there in New York City. And so I've always had an interest in learning and just picking up different things. And it's no different now with sports. You know, sports for me has been a vehicle for me, like you said, to travel and go to different places. You know, even being here in Pittsburgh, the first thing I did once I got off the plane was kind of take a lap around the city. I went towards PNC and went over the Roberto Clemente Bridge. And, you know, I wanted to stop by the Andy Warhol Museum. I will save that for another trip. But I'm real heavy into the arts and just kind of, I love architecture. I've been looking up at the buildings to see, kind of guessing in my brain when they were built and things. So I just like picking up information in different cities, man. So it's been fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did you begin your journey to where you are today?
Wow. YouTube.
Yeah.
So my path to being a sports broadcaster started on YouTube. I worked in production prior to that, and a TV producer told me, he gave me great advice. His name's Fred Seibert. He was starting an online digital company to just not put shows on TV or movies, but YouTube. And he suggested to me, he said, why don't you start a sports show? You're producing for this musician, and you're coming up with ideas for this podcast, and you're doing this on TV. I know you like sports. Why don't you start your own sports show? If you have success on your own, then you can come back to me and I'll help you blow it up. And that's what I did. I started JRSportBrief on YouTube by a fan for the fans. And the whole idea, even today now on the radio, is to give my opinion on the big sports topic and then ask the viewer, the listener, what do you think as well? And that's what's gotten me through it. That's how I got started.
That's awesome. And you started off videoing, you know, starting off your videos in your closet, like you mentioned earlier today. You know, you were shooting your videos on your Sony Handycam. And then you got a chance to go and interview these athletes that are known around the world. Is there a particular athlete that sticks out to you that you remember clearly and, you know, it means a lot to you?
Yeah. I think I have a very good memory. So I remember just about every single interaction I've ever had with anybody. I could probably tell you the time frame, the city, the area. I'll give you three. Manny Pacquiao was my first big interview. Interviewed Manny Pacquiao in Los Angeles. A friend, Cha-Cha, who passed away, he was a former boxing promoter. He helped set that up. Once I was able to interview Manny Pacquiao, then I kind of had a proof of concept to go and interview other people. Pele was a fun interview in 2012 at the London Olympics. I was working with YouTube at the time. YouTube flew me out to the Olympics and said, just go create stuff. And that's what I did. So I had a chance to host Pele at a Google Hangout, and then I had a chance to meet him. The hotel he was staying at was like right down the block. And I met Pele. He treated me like his grandson. So that was fun. And then Kobe Bryant, especially, you know, after the fact, you never would think someone who's a young man would just pass away the way he did. But I had a chance to meet Kobe at Richard Sherman's celebrity softball game. This was up in Seattle. And, you know, I know Kobe for shooting threes and dunks. He swung the bat pretty good. And so I talked to Kobe, and it was pretty amazing because he found out what I did, and he found out what I built with JRSportBrief, and he was very Kobe-like. He was, wow, that's amazing. Keep going, man. Just don't stop. Like even the few minutes that I spent with him and a few hours that I was around him, it was like, whoa. So those are the three big interviews that really stand out to me amongst so many.
That's awesome. I bet that experience was just, you know, really cool to, you know, talk to those athletes.
Yeah.
and people that you've looked up to and you didn't expect that you'd be interviewing them one day.
Sure.
So what advice would you give to someone thriving to be in your type of field and be successful?
Man, there's so many changes, and this is why I started off to do this tour. Because when I started in my bedroom in 2009, here in 2021, there's so many. Media is just different. I gave an example when I spoke to you guys earlier today about just asking to go to Yankee Stadium. And at this point, like even before I got to Manny Pacquiao, I had to build up an audience on YouTube by myself. Like there wasn't like, here's Manny Pacquiao for you to help blow things up. It wasn't like, we're going to call LeBron for you and put him on your YouTube. I had to build the channel organically. I put a video up. I had to go and reach people. And here in 2021, the social media is right there. I wouldn't need a Sony Handycam. Like I have HD quality of a camera in my front pocket right now. I can move it. I can shoot a video. I can record it. I can get it up. I don't have to sit down with fancy software and edit it. I just have to have the structure. I have to have the idea. And then all of the tools are there to put it out and market it. So I tell anyone, it doesn't matter whether you want to be a sports broadcaster or you want to have makeup or comedy, like the tools are there. They're less expensive. They're more accessible. For the most part, they're free. And you can really start to market and brand yourself if you have an idea of what you want to do, if you program and prepare for it, and then just do it. Don't be afraid. You got to give yourself a runway to say, hey, I want to try this, or I want to build a reel. Plan it. Too many people look at how easy it is just to put things online. They forget about the planning part. Because anybody could throw something on the internet. It can be hot, it could be not. If you have the best chance of success, just like anything else, if you prepare for it.
Yeah, and you really emphasize consistency throughout earlier today, and even now you talking about it. Do you feel like you were as consistent as you were back then than you are now with the work that you do?
I have no choice. I have no choice. Whether it's YouTube or radio or TV, let's think about it this way. There are 300 stations that broadcast the JRSportBrief show on CBS Sports Radio. Hawaii, Miami, Maine, San Diego, everything in between. If I'm not on air Monday through Friday at 10 p.m., what am I doing? It's like I should just stay home. Like I shouldn't even come back the next day. Granted, I'm a human being. I take time off. I'll go on a vacation. But consistency is the key. It doesn't matter if you're quote unquote on YouTube starting a show or Instagram, or if you're like me and I just decided to go AWOL. You go AWOL for a day on YouTube, fine. People find another show to watch and then you screwed yourself over. If I go AWOL like tonight, if I say, I'm just going to watch Yankees Red Sox, I'm going to have a beer, kick back, my phone program director is going to call me. Sponsors are going to call me. Where are you at to do the read? There's a whole list of people who go, where the hell are you? And that's just about being just professional. And so consistency is key. Like I can't come on the radio every single day, anytime I want. Every part of the day is a different schedule. You got your slot. And imagine if, we just drew straws every day and said, Tiki Barber, you come on at 10 and today I'll come on at 2 p.m. People would be all over the place. People would tune out. So consistency is very important. Like everything that I do, there's a purpose for it. And then having the structure and timing and the commitment is very important. You have to. I tell people, you waste your time. Granted, nobody can predict the future. I can't tell whether an idea is going to succeed or fail. I can weigh the marketplace and say, okay, this is going to be a success or it has a higher chance to do so. But you can't figure anything out if you don't come up with the idea, give yourself the runway, and stay committed. Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Yeah. So you've been walking around Point Park giving out these cows.
Yeah.
And, you work with the Special Olympics. How important is your collaboration with Experian, I believe, and the Special Olympics mean to you?
Well, first of all, with Special Olympics, it's amazing because a big part of this tour isn't just sharing the information that I've learned about the media business and the sports business and traditional media and digital. It's also about diversity and inclusion. And Special Olympics is an amazing organization that I've had a chance to view and participate in just by seeing a lot of the events that they have around the country, around the world, that really push the button for inclusion. I believe that when you think about media and just content in general, I think there should be more young people. I think there should be more diverse voices. And it's not just a matter of black or white. I think it's all across the board. And I think we live in such a beautiful time where younger people don't have to wait. I didn't wait. I didn't say, I'm going to wait for somebody to get a job. I created my demo reel on YouTube. And then I pushed it and pushed some more. And then people said, oh, wow, okay, we like it. And then they pushed and pushed some more. And I think the tools are at everybody's disposal. Don't wait. If you're passionate about something, don't let anybody tell you no. If you're passionate about something, go out and do it. And so Special Olympics is my partner in this tour because I love what they do. Like, they don't wait. They make sure that people get a chance. They make sure that people get an opportunity, that they can have some fun. And I think it's due time for everybody to kind of open up their minds, open up their doors, and let everybody participate in something that I believe is fun. And it's not just business, just treat people like people, not just in the workplace, but just personally as well. I think we're all better off if we step outside our comfort zones and become more inclusive. And then Experian is the same way. I've been giving out the cows, that's courtesy of Experian. I wouldn't be here on this tour if it wasn't for Experian. They have funded the tour for me to go all across North America to the 22, 25 plus colleges that I'm going to go to. And it's cool working with Experian because when I talk about inclusivity, finances are a part of that too. We know a lot of times, unfortunately, you have more money than somebody else, you could be better off. If you have better financial advice or knowledge that you've been taught, you can be better off. And so there's also inclusivity that's involved in that. And so I'm happy Experian came on board to do this. And especially college is a good time to learn about money, maybe make some mistakes, because all mistakes, especially financial ones, they can kind of follow you your entire life. So Experian has been a good partner with me.
And thank you. We really appreciate you, coming out here to Point Park University. One last question.
Sure.
So we talked about your journey, starting off and shooting videos of yourself in your closet, to interviewing some of the best athletes around the world, and now being a host of your own show on CBS Radio. So what does the future hold for Jared Jackson?
Man, I want you to take my job. I want people to do what I've done, have an easier time doing it, have fun while they do it. Like, my background is in production, whether it's me producing myself and my show on CBS, or whether it's producing content that feature athletes, is something that I'm working on right now behind the scenes. There's a lot of athletes who I've met over the years who I think have amazing stories to be told in ways that haven't been shared in the traditional sense. So, I'm a creative guy. I'm always going to be creative. And so there's two things for me: to continue to be creative, to continue to work as talent on radio and TV, to tell other people's stories, but then also give people the tools to go out and kind of go just kill their own dreams. And when I say kill, I'm talking about kill it. Like, have a good time, have fun, just go for your passion. And so that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy being here at Point Park and just kind of dropping jewels and knowledge just from my journey. So that's what's next for me, helping other people and still having fun.
Thank you. This is JR Jackson. We appreciate you coming out. And how about you just take a moment and where people can find you and listen to you?
Hey, it's on my shirt. It's at JRSportBrief everywhere. That's Twitter, that's Facebook, that's Instagram. The JR Sport Brief show is on CBS Sports Radio every single weeknight, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. And if you should want to, this is also my email address, jrsportbrief@gmail.com. I'm just a regular dude, and that's how I approach sports in general. Hit me up.
And thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Pioneer Sideline. That's all we have. That is all the time we have for this week. Be sure to join us next week at the same Pioneer time, the same Pioneer channel, and the same Pioneer Sideline.